but he's praying for you. I could tell you stories, and they were talking the other night about being in evangelism, and it really is a faith trip. Sometimes you don't know how you're going to pay bills. Sometimes you don't know where you're going to get your next meal from. But you know what? He's always been faithful. I don't think I've missed a meal. I've probably had bonus meals. Last year I took on a driver for 7 months, and it was supposed to be 3 weeks, and the Lord allowed us to travel together for 7 months. And I told him in the beginning, I said, James, I think I can make your car payment and your insurance and pay your cell phone bill. But we'll probably eat at McDonald's quite a bit off the dollar menu while we're out together. I wouldn't have done it except that I felt like the Lord wanted me to do it, and the Lord blessed it. You know what? We made his car payment every month. I paid his insurance. I paid my bills. I paid his bills. Gave him a little spending money, and when he left me, I gave him a good little offering to help him get to Albania on a missions trip. And we ate at McDonald's 3 times in that 7 months. Not because we had to, but because that's just where everybody else was eating. So what are you saying? God's faithful. God's faithful. And it was the prayers of the saints. Listen, there was 1 month I didn't know how we were going to get the bills paid. My bank account had 90 cents. His was in the negative. You ever been there, Brother Rick? And then one Sunday night, a pastor said, I'm going to sell all your CDs for you tonight. I had probably about $200 worth of CDs. And he said, Brother Jesse's got this new little credit card reader, and you can just swipe your card and put the amount in for the CD. He said, I want you to buy all his CDs. But then I want you to give him a little bit extra on top of it. And when we left that church, I literally had cash coming out my pockets. And we got back to James's house, and I dumped it on the table and told his mom, I said, here, help us count this. And it was more than enough to pay both of our bills for the month. It was more than enough. Why is that? Because I got a mama who's praying. Because I got preacher friends who are praying for me. Brother Rick has called me. When I first got in evangelism, he probably called me once a month just to check up on me and remind me that he was praying for me. I got a pastor back home that prays for me. Listen, when God lays someone on your heart to pray for them, there's a reason. They may be going through a trial. They may be going through a valley. Would you pray until peace comes? Intercessory prayer is one of the most wonderful gifts that we can give one another. Today I was walking with a load too hard to bear, and I was ready to faint and give up in despair. But I felt the presence of holy power, rich and sweet. Somewhere a faithful warrior had prayed through for me. Somewhere somebody had prayed long enough. They stayed on their knees till God lifted me up. I know the very moment everything began to change. Somewhere a warrior had prayed through again. Oh, I can't imagine just what they must have failed, but I know what they asked for when they humbly knelt. They cried, Lord, I'm so broken. For my friend in need, would you take his heavy burden and give it to me? Somewhere somebody had prayed long enough. They stayed on their knees till God lifted me up. I know the very moment everything began to change. Somewhere a warrior had prayed through again. I know the very moment everything began to change. Somewhere a warrior had prayed through again.
Wait a minute, Jesse.